Is there a way forward using peaceful means that there can be a two-state solution where the rights and the security of both parties are respected equally? And if so, how do we arrive at that from where we are today?
Well, for a two-state solution to exist, and I think very practical ones have been proposed. The Arab League plan was brought up again and given a little more respect a year and a half or so ago than it was the first time around. But very importantly, that plan calls for normalization, full normalization of relations between Israel and its neighbors, not including Iran and Saudi Arabia, and called for full normalization, not just an end of hostilities, but normalization of relations. And when proposals like that come up, they have to not be sabotaged by some F-16 attack on Hamas, which I'm not a Hamas sympathizer at all, but if we say we're for democracy and someone we don't like gets elected, we have to acknowledge that that's democracy. For normalization of relations to happen, like the Arab Peace Plan said, we need to not just dismiss these proposals out of hand, acknowledge that maybe they're coming from a place of really trying to move us forward. If we want a two-state solution, then the settlements will need to go. Now, in some ways, and certainly some Israeli commentators I agree with, is that it's not clear what Israel, as it currently exists, has to gain from peace, because so much of the Israeli society is based on militarism, be it how you gain credence and honor in the society is through military service.
With all of the damage, with all of the hurt on both sides, with all the fear on both sides, is there a way forward, and if so, how? What would be required of both sides, briefly?
In international relations, the term confidence-building measures, well, certainly confidence-building measures are needed on both sides. I think there have been times when they've been taken by one or the other. I think because Israel holds the reins of power and is in control over the Palestinian people, the onus is on Israel, not Palestine, to lead the way. On the Palestinian side, certainly no more rockets from Gaza. If Israel deals more justly with the Palestinian citizens, I think the Palestinian citizens will be very happy to be part of Israel. I don't think that they currently are.
What is the Martin de Porres House of Hospitality?
Martin de Porres is a soup kitchen in San Francisco. It was started in the Catholic worker tradition, which the Catholic worker movement goes back to the Depression. It was started by Dorothy Day and Peter Marin, and I think is one of the most inspiring social movements ever, and exists now. Independent houses, over 200 of them worldwide, mostly in the United States, but also abroad. And there is no central Catholic worker body. They're all independent, but networked. It's a thriving movement. And Martin de Porres runs what I think is a fountain of love in the world. The people there are treated with dignity. And there is a free lunch at Martin's. I spent 13 years living in community as part of the team that ran it, the core group, and it made me a much better person. I learned the ideal of selflessness and caring for others there more than anywhere else in my life.
Do you have a personal spiritual practice other than attendance at organized worship services? And if so, what is it?
I go in and out of a spiritual practice. I sometimes wish that I were more disciplined in that regard. Right now I am trying to devote at least 10 minutes a day to stillness, and I can do what I want with that time. If I want to journal or just sit and not think about work. And I, for a time, practiced some ayin meditation, which is real mind emptying as opposed to having a mantra. And I was able to do that for slightly longer periods of time between thoughts drifting in. But I do get very caught up in my daily life, and I would benefit from increasing my practice again. And so just sitting in stillness is good. I got into yoga when I moved here, and that has helped a great deal also for quieting my mind. I need to quiet my mind more and listen to what comes in.